is everything that I have crocheted in 2026. So far, I need to put this down. We are just over halfway through 2026 and I thought it would be fun to do like a little roundup of everything that I've crocheted so far. I have crocheted jumpers, dresses, cardigans, tops, strappy tops, tank tops, t-shirts. I have crocheted a lot this year, actually, thinking about it. It is pretty hot today, so I will not be doing a try on, but I do want to kind of talk through all of the pieces that I've made. If you are wanting any of the like pattern information, the yarn information, I will either say it in the video or it will be linked in the description. Some of these are like my own patterns, some of them are just like self-drafted, some of them are other people's patterns, so everything you need to know, if I don't say it out loud, it will be in the description. Also, hello, if you don't know me, my name is Rajan, or Not Half Bad Crochet, and I am a part-time crochet pattern designer and content creator. If you are interested in any of my patterns or designs, they are always linked in the description. You can grab them on Etsy, Coffee and Ravelry. And if you enjoy crochet content like project vlogs, cozy crochet days, some behind the scenes of a pattern designer, then please do subscribe to my channel and stick around. I do also post short form content over on TikTok and on Instagram, so you can follow me there too. So I'm going to be doing a little rundown of everything that I have crocheted so far in 2026. We are just over halfway through the year, and I thought it would just be fun to kind of see everything that I have crocheted, talk about it in a little bit more detail, share all of the information that you might need, like yarn and pattern info, that sort of thing. And I will not be doing a try on because it's just very hot and I don't want to put myself through that, but I will like share photos, videos, whatever I have of me in the garments. You can kind of see what it looks like. But pretty much, if not everything that I have crocheted so far this year, I do have a corresponding vlog where I vlogged the entire process of me crocheting the thing. I do that with pretty much all of my projects, so if that's something that interests you, you can obviously check out the vlogs, which I will link in the description, and subscribe to my channel for anything that I will be posting in the future. I think that's kind of covering everything. If you have any questions about any of the pieces, let me know, but everything I pretty much will cover in the video and in the description, so be sure to check there first. So I will be taking a seat because I will no doubt be yapping about all of these projects in quite a lot of detail. Grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a crochet or knit project, whatever it is you're working on, and let me go through everything that I have crocheted in 2026 so far. Okay, you'll have to forgive the sound of the aircon if you can hear it. I'm going to try my best to like fix it in editing so it's not super loud, but it's very hot today. It's about 34 degrees and it's like 12 p.m, so it's peak hotness right now. So the first thing that I crocheted in 2026 was my Perfect 10 sweater, which is actually kind of crazy because I feel like I have had this sweater for a really long time. Like, this is now a sweater that I really, obviously not in the summertime, but when it was cold, like I reached for this so much because it's just a really lovely fit on me. It's just like nice and loose and slightly baggy, slightly oversized, slightly boxy. It kind of ticks all of the boxes of a sweater fit for me personally, and it goes with everything as well. It's like a really easy sweater to coordinate. The Perfect 10 sweater is a multi-stitch patchwork sweater, and I have had this idea to do the sweater for probably like a good year and a half or so. A lot of this yarn is actually scrap and leftover yarn from a variety of different projects, the large majority of it coming from my mum. When I told my mum I was crocheting, she actually used to knit way back in the day, and she still had like a lot of yarn. So when she came to visit me one time, she brought me all of her yarn, she let me ransack it, and I basically took like the majority of it because she wasn't using it. So a lot of this is from her stash, which I turned into a project but then didn't like it. It was badly fitting. It was like one of my first ever wearables. I think it was like my second or third project, so it wasn't great, and I frogged the yarn ages ago and I had it in my stash, and then with the intention to make a patchwork sweater, and then I had the idea to do each patch a different stitch. And so I had the idea for a really long time, and I was planning on crocheting it last year, but I just like didn't get around to it. So I knew that this was something that I wanted to achieve this year, not only because I wanted the actual sweater and I thought it would be really cute and cozy, but also because I am on like a bit of a yarn stash busting mission this year, where I really want to utilize the yarn in my stash, and where I had like a lot of scrap little bits here and there was like cakes, there was like random little bits of like balled up and put into like these little bags and stuff. I wanted to use it, so it kind of like got rid of that section of my yarn storage that almost like was kind of like stressing me out a little bit because it was kind of messy, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's this sweater. It turned out really good. I love all of the different stitches that I chose. It's really fun, and I just went for all these different shades of blue because the sweater that I did frog was different shades of blue, but then in my stash I just had like some random scraps of blue yarn as well. I don't know why, because I love blue, don't get me wrong, but I don't really reach for blue that much, so it was kind of weird that I had like so much scrap blue yarn that I was able to kind of put towards this project. And I'm pretty sure I used up like the majority of it. I do have a vlog where I kind of like talked about the process of me crocheting this, and I think I shared how much yarn I had left over, but I'm pretty sure I used like the majority of it. I do have a pattern for this one. It was a really fun like pattern test. My pattern testers did an amazing job. Like I think with this kind of sweater where it's a patchwork sort of thing, and like it's almost like a pick and mix, choose your own sort of vibe, where you can obviously pick all of the different colors that you want, you can pick whatever stitches that you want. And yeah, it was just like really fun to see everyone's interpretation of this sweater, because everyone did it in such a fun and creative way. And it is called the Perfect 10 sweater because I used a total of 10 different crochet stitches, which I think is just so fun. I love that. Like I love using fun and funky stitches in my crochet projects, and this was no different. Yeah, this is a really fun sweater. I wear it all the time. I'm looking forward to when it is cold enough for me to wear it again, because like it's become a bit of a staple in my wardrobe. So the next thing I crocheted is my no face sweater. Again, this is a sweater that I'm like, wow, I can't believe that this was only this year. So I bought this tapestry design from a very talented tapestry crochet designer called Ty Bailey. You should check out his work. He is extremely talented. His tapestries are kind of crazy, and I think in like the first year of me crocheting I saw that he had like a couple of Studio Ghibli tapestries, and he was offering them for free, I'm pretty sure. I don't know why. I think maybe he was like phasing them out, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't offer them anymore, and he was offering them for free. So he had a Totoro one and he had a no face one, and I got both of them because at the time I was like, well, I want to do tapestry at some point, but I was so new into crochet that I didn't know how, you know. Like I was like, I'm nowhere near potentially doing any form of tapestry, so I was just like, let me just get it, and then I have it and I can use it whenever, basically. So I have had this no face tapestry in my kind of like pattern log for a really long time, and I knew from getting it that I wanted to turn it into a sweater, but because I was not particularly well versed in tapestry, and I never really did that much garment construction like freehanding and stuff at the time, I didn't know how to do that. Obviously now I have made many a sweater, many a garment, many a tapestry, so I was like, okay, well my skills are very much here, and I basically did that. I essentially had the yarn that I wanted to use for this sweater like assigned to this sweater. Because of the fact it was a tapestry, I knew I needed to use particular colours for the actual graph, but I also wanted the rest of the sweater to be in specific colours. So I did buy this yarn probably in like 2023 maybe, and it's just been in my stash. And again, I was like, I'm gonna do it, and I just never got around to it. So I was like, let me actually do it so I can use this yarn, because as well, it's one of those things where I wasn't touching that yarn because I was like, oh well, I need it for this tapestry in this project, so I didn't know if I could even like use a little bit of it, if here and there, for maybe like some scrap projects or whatever else. So I'm really glad that I crocheted this sweater. It was such a fun piece. I had this idea to do like a kind of checkerboard sleeve moment, which I think looked really good, and like tied everything all together. I wanted to incorporate this kind of like icy minty green that I think went really nicely with not only the tapestry but also the kind of like purpley colour of the sweater. I went for like a nice oversized fit as well. Like I've been really enjoying like a slouchy oversized sweater fit, and I think like when I first started crocheting, I crocheted a lot of cropped sweaters just because I was, I think, a little bit lazy and I couldn't be bothered to crochet it longer and stuff like that. So it feels nice to be able to have a few sweaters in my bank that are a little bit looser and baggier and like full coverage sort of thing. So yeah, I really love the fit of it. One of my favorite projects that I've made this year. I'm really glad that I used the yarn, used the tapestry, and kind of like ticked it off my project wish list essentially. So the third thing that I crocheted in 2026 is my rainbow cardigan. This was like another addition to my crochet graveyard series, which is basically where I sometimes visit my crochet graveyard, which is essentially just a bin bag of where some of my old crochet projects go to die, because I like didn't like the fit, I don't like how they look on me, maybe like I just don't like the actual project anymore. So every now and again I will go into my crochet graveyard, pick out a project, either frog the yarn, you know, donate it, like reuse it for something else, do something with it so it leaves my graveyard. And that is a series that I kind of do sporadically on my channel. If you are interested in any of the other projects I've done for that series, I do have a playlist with all of those videos, so you can check it out. With this, I basically had this really fun like chunky rainbow yarn, and I'd had it for, I think this was maybe like my second or third project that I had ever done, and the original project was basically a raglan, and it was, I'm pretty sure, my first ever raglan, but I just didn't like it. I didn't like the fit. It was like cropped but not cropped, and like the sleeves were really long, and then I added a collar on it for some strange reason. So I literally tried it on when it was finished and was like, I hate it, and then just like never worn it. But I love the yarn, and it's like not really like me to kind of gravitate towards such a chunky yarn, because I over the years have realized that I prefer like a DK or a finer weight yarn to use. But yeah, this yarn is pretty chunky, but it's just like a fun collection of rainbow colors, and I think it's like a really fun looking yarn. So I frogged the project, turned it into something new, and I chose to make a fun fitted ribbed cardigan. I went for like a cropped fit because like I think where I'd done like 2 oversized sweaters, I wanted something a little bit tighter, a little bit more cropped. And yeah, I had a really good time. It was a really fun sweater. It worked up so fast as well, obviously because I was using a chunky yarn. But yeah, I absolutely love this project. I wore it a bunch before it got super hot. I feel like it's one of those pieces that even though it has a million colors in it, I find it quite easy to style because I have a lot of bright colored things that would go really nicely with it. So yeah, that was the next project that I crocheted. So the next thing I crocheted, I do not have on my person, and I do not have it anymore because it was a gift for somebody else. So I crocheted a balaclava slash beanie that was inspired by Trafalgar Law from One Piece. So my bestie's partner is really into One Piece, like absolutely loves it, has watched the whole anime, has read all the manga, and I recently have like started reading the manga. I haven't read it for a little while, if I'm being so honest. I'm on like volume 32, 33, and we kind of like talk about anime and manga and TV shows and stuff a lot when we're together. And he basically wanted a beanie slash balaclava where it was like the pattern of Trafalgar Law's hat on it basically. I've never made a balaclava before. I've made several beanies, but I've never touched a balaclava, and I didn't follow a pattern or anything. I just freehanded it, and I just freehanded the tapestry as well. What I came to learn when I was crocheting this was that the pattern on Trafalgar Law's hat is like meant to be a spotted seal pattern, because when I was doing it I was like, is this a Dalmatian? Is this a cow? Like what kind of what is the pattern of this? Obviously I did my research because I am yet to meet Trafalgar Law in the manga, so I don't know this character, so it felt a bit weird kind of crocheting something that is based off of a character that like I just don't know. But yeah, it was a really fun project, super quick, really easy to do. The balaclava like aspect was really fun, and he basically wanted it to be a balaclava so that the bottom half had like kind of the spotted seal tapestry on it, but then when you roll it up and wear it as a beanie, it has this kind of brim which has the spotted seal pattern on it, so that it kind of looks like Trafalgar Law's hat, which makes a lot of sense because I think when he was telling me the design of what he wanted, I was like, what are you talking about? And I didn't really understand why he wanted only the tapestry on like the bottom half of it. But as I was making it, and as I had obviously researched more into Trafalgar Law as a character, I was like, oh, I get it, I understand now. So that was a really fun project. I very rarely make things for other people because I don't know, I'm just a bit selfish, okay? I'm just gonna say I prefer making things for myself. But it was a really fun, easy and quick project, and I had the yarn in my stash that I knew would be perfect for it, so like I was more than fine to do it, and he loves it. He was obsessed when I gave it to him. He was really pleased, super grateful. That was a really fun project because it was kind of like an in-betweeny sort of vibe where it was like nice and quick. I got the dopamine hit of finishing a project, and I got to kind of give it to somebody else, so I also got like the satisfaction of giving somebody else a gift that he really loved. So the next thing I crocheted is my queen bee top, and I recently released the pattern for this, and whilst the pattern was being pattern tested, I wanted to make another one. If you haven't seen this top on my channel before, it is basically a really fun hexagonal honeycomb sort of top. It has a fun little picot border as well, which I think is really cute. It's a really pretty design, very easy construction, and I also do like a join as you go method, which gives it a really nice like fun texture, but it also means that the construction of the top works up really nicely and really quickly. My original one was an asymmetrical design, and I did it all in one color. That was actually part of a crochet graveyard series, which I will link the vlog in the description if you want to watch it. But I made an asymmetrical version, and when I was writing the pattern I was like, well, I can make it so it is optional whether you have an asymmetrical strap or you have a regular 2-strap, and I knew that I would want a regular 2-strap one and also one that was like colorful where I kind of like changed colors on every round. So whilst it was being pattern tested, I also made my own, kind of like following the pattern as well to kind of see and make sure that it all made sense and stuff. And yeah, this is the top that I had made whilst everyone was pattern testing their version. I'm really glad that I have both options because as much as I love the asymmetrical one, this one is like a lot more wearable, if that makes sense, because it doesn't feel as kind of like dressed up. And I think with this one, like I can wear it a little bit more casually, I can wear it to work, but I can also like zhuzh it up a little bit and make it a little bit more dressed up if I want to. The pattern for this top is now available, and my testers did an amazing job. Again, this was like a really fun pattern where people could get like super creative with their colors. Like they could either do it kind of how I did with my original original one where it was all one colour, or they could change colour on every row or on some rows. It's a really fun test where I got to see a lot of people's like creativity, and then you have the option of doing it a regular 2-strap or an asymmetrical one. So there was a lot of variety with the testers versions, which I absolutely love to see. This was a really fun top. I'm really glad that I have it. I wear this quite often, particularly in the summertime, and I used a 100% cotton yarn. This was all drops, and it is a mixture of drops Heartsew and drops Saffron. And I do have a vlog obviously where I kind of talk about the yarn that I used in a little bit more detail, so if you are interested in that, I will link in the description. And the next thing I crocheted is my Titan tank. So this is another pattern of mine. I can't believe how many patterns I have released so far this year. That's actually kind of crazy. It's my third one. Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy considering we're not even at halfway through the year and I've got 3 patterns out. Anyway, I did kind of like lose my mind a little bit because I had like, I think I had like 3 patterns, all 3 of them on the go at one point for like a week, as like some of them were ending and stuff. So yeah, it was, I'm not doing that again. That was kind of insane of me, but it's too late now. So anyway, the Titan tank is basically a tank top. I wanted to utilize a lot of my scrap and leftover yarn. I had all these like really nice colors, fingering sort of way, and I wanted to put them all together to make this like fun color palette. And it's called the Titan tank because it is inspired by the top that Eren Yeager wears in Attack on Titan. If you don't know what Attack on Titan is, it is a very popular manga and anime, and in the show and in the anime, the main character in the kind of earlier seasons wears this top which has like, it's a long sleeve top, but he wears this top which has a kind of like a V cut out sort of vibe with this like little lace up moment. And I remember watching it and being like, that would make a really cute top. And I've had the idea to do this for a really long time, and I knew that I wanted to make like a tank top version, but I just didn't know what yarn I wanted to use, like what colors, so I'm really glad that I kind of like took the plunge and did it, because this has become one of my like most worn summer pieces. It's just like a really nice like fitted cropped tank top. It's like easy to throw on, and despite the crazy color palette, like I'm able to style this quite easily with a bunch of other summer things that I have in my wardrobe. I use this like really fun stitch pattern which gives like a really nice texture, but also like with the different colors has this like almost zigzag sort of vibe, which I really like. This is another one where my pattern testers did a really good job of like using a bunch of different colors and stuff. I think where I use this as like a scrap buster project, a lot of my testers did as well, and so the color palettes that they created were really fun. So it was really fun again to see the creativity behind a lot of my testers, where they had done theirs in like a different variation of colors, or they kind of like split them up in different ways. It was just really interesting to see everyone's like interpretation on the pattern. And the good thing is as well is that we work in the round for the most part, and the only place that we join is at the shoulders, so it's nearly a seamless top, a really simple construction despite the kind of like fun neckline at the front, and it has some like armhole shaping, so it's kind of like designed to fit you a lot better. And obviously with all of my patterns I do give you guys like a guide on how to get the best fit and like where to take your measurements and stuff. Yeah, this was a really fun piece. Really glad that I crocheted it. I used up a lot of my scrap and leftover yarn, and it created like a really fun color palette that like I don't think I would have really put these colors together if I'm being honest, but it turned out really cute, and I love it. I wear it all the time. And the next thing I crocheted is a triangle shawl. I have been wanting one of these like cutesy little triangle shawls for a really long time. I think I've seen them a lot like being styled by people on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and I just really love the way that they look. So I took a week off work and I had this like kind of like faux mohair yarn that I got from my mum, again when I like raided her stash, and I had like a really small amount of it, and it's been in my stash for a really long time. I didn't know what to do with it because I had such a small amount of it. And then I also ages ago went to a charity shop and found this like really interesting looking yarn where it was again like a faux mohair, and it was like a Brillo pad. Like that's the only way I can describe what it looked like. It was kind of, even had that like silvery grey sort of like slate purple sort of tinge to it, and it literally looks like a Brillo pad because it's got the fuzziness of this like faux mohair, but it has these like little flecks and neps of like purple and blue like sprinkled throughout it. It's a really interesting yarn. But yeah, I again didn't know what to do with it, and so I put it towards this triangle shawl. I wear the shawl a lot, like obviously now not in the summertime, but in the kind of transitional months in particular. There's like a perfect extra layer, and I think like it's going to be perfect for those transitional months. But yeah, this was a super easy project. It was literally just like I think a 2-row repeat that just got bigger and bigger, almost like a granny square sort of thing. So it was a really fun, easy project and something that I wear quite a lot. And the next thing I crocheted is my maxi dress. I am not going to open it all up because it is a very big and heavy dress. I have 2 vlogs actually of me crocheting this. Kind of part 1 is like the first half of it, and then part 2 is the rest obviously. But yeah, I crocheted myself a maxi dress. I have been wanting to crochet a maxi dress for a really long time. I basically picked up this really beautiful like buttery lemon yellow yarn, and I got 1200 grams of it, knowing that I wanted to make a maxi dress. And so my friend's wedding was coming up at the time of me crocheting it, and it was like a spring wedding, so I was unsure what the weather was going to be like. But since I kind of wanted a maxi dress for the summertime anyway, I was like, well, let me crochet it now, and then if I make it in time for the wedding and it's like, you know, a good temperature for me to wear it, then great. If not, then at least I've kind of got it ready for the summertime. So yeah, I crocheted the dress. It was probably my biggest project that I've ever made. Took me a really long time, but it was a really fun project. I didn't have any major issues with it, although in vlog number 2, if you have or plan to watch it, I did find like a carpet beetle on my yarn. I still to this day don't know where they came from. I don't know if they were in the yarn skeins to begin with. I don't know if it just kind of came in from the window because it was like springtime, or opening the windows a little bit more, because it was never inside my yarn. It was always just like on top of my yarn, you know. So I don't know. And I mean, touch wood, there's none. There's been none since, and in the actual dress there's none, has been none. So I don't know guys, but I did experience my first kind of scare with animals and bugs when it came to like my fibre on my yarn. One of the most common questions that I get about this dress is it heavy? And yeah, it's 1200 grams of yarn. Of course it's going to be heavy. It's a maxi dress and I'm plus size, so yes, it's a heavy dress. I don't particularly mind that. I kind of went into this knowing that it was going to end up being heavy. Obviously I knew it was going to be because I bought 1200 grams of yarn. Yeah, and I love it. I really enjoy wearing it. The next thing I crocheted is this Stripey raglan t-shirt. So like I said, I have been on a bit of a stash busting mission this year, and I just had all of this like cotton Aran yarn in my stash, left over from like a variety of different projects. Kind of throughout the years of me crocheting, I can kind of remember the projects that I've used all of these colors for, and I just had like a bunch of it left over, and like I was getting to a point where I was really struggling to make a top or a tank top or whatever, make a garment out of just like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of the colors that I had left. So I was like, well, collectively I have enough to do a t-shirt. I actually had a little bit left over, so I was like, might as well put it all together. I think I was reluctant to do so because there are some colors in here that I wouldn't necessarily have like put together. Like there's like some neutrals in there's some like really vibrant bright colors as well, and I just like wasn't sure whether I would like the color palette by putting all of these colors together. But I think it's turned out really fun. I wanted to make a raglan t-shirt out of it because I do have a couple of crochet t-shirts, but like I wanted one that was a little bit looser, a little bit baggier, but cropped, but not super like baby tee kind of cropped. So this is exactly that. It was a really fun stitch pattern. It's kind of like almost this shell stitch, but it's got like a couple of chain spaces in there, so it makes it nice and light and airy. And I do have a whole vlog of me crocheting it if you want to know more about me crocheting it. It turned out really nice. I didn't have any problems with this. I used up pretty much all of the yarn basically. This was like a real stash busting kind of project, and I only had like a tiny bit of the yarn of like different colors here and there left over from the whole thing. I've worn it several times. I reach for this a lot. It goes with a lot of the things that I have in my wardrobe, which is great because it makes it really easy to style. This was a really fun project. I have no notes. I loved this piece. I think it's turned out really nice. I love all the colors together, and I love a raglan. Raglans are just so easy for me, and yeah, I had a good time. Now speaking of raglans, the next thing I crocheted is the woven diamond sweater. So I participated in a pattern test for a really talented crochet designer called Cool Crochet by Dennis. I will link his Instagram in the description if you want to check him out. And he had a testicle out for this sweater called the woven diamond sweater. It looks really fun. It has this like really nice textured diamond sort of stitch pattern on it, and I was like, I want one of those. So I applied and got selected, and I crocheted it. It was a size graded pattern test, and I typically don't gravitate towards size graded patterns in general, just because I am plus size and sometimes the designs and the patterns are not fat people friendly, and I did experience that with this pattern, unfortunately. If you've seen the vlog, you have probably seen me kind of like slowly lose my mind a little bit with the sizing of this pattern. The version that I crocheted, not size inclusive. in my opinion. I basically had made sizing amendments to every stage of the sizing in the pattern, and it got to a point where I was like, I cannot follow this pattern anymore when it comes to the sizing. I am just gonna like I'm just gonna crochet it how I want it to fit me. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate it, but I don't think that this fit is like my favorite fit that I've ever made. The sleeves were just really big, really big. The yoke sat really low down, and like I originally applied to test 3XL but decided against it and went for the 2XL instead, because I was using a alpaca yarn and I knew that it was going to stretch out a little bit. So I was like, let me do the smaller size. And even with that being a smaller size than I would usually wear, the yoke sat super low, which was kind of like the catalyst of where everything else kind of like went out of place in terms of sizing for the rest of the pattern. Like the yoke being low, and then the sleeves are really big, and then I had to adjust the length of it, I had to adjust the sleeve length, I had to adjust the sleeve decreasing, which is a real shame because like the pattern is well written, the design is really beautiful with the kind of like diamond shaping and like the 3D element, the textured element of it, really beautiful, but the sizing was just not good. So obviously, because this is a pattern test, I did let the designer know and give him all of my feedback. I told him every stage of the pattern that I kind of had issues and the amendments that I had to make, and we kind of like chatted through it on email. And like in my first email where I kind of gave all the feedback, I suggested that there needs to be an overhaul on the sizing, particularly for the plus sizes, and I suggested also a retest of the larger sizes. So he did say that he was going to do that. I have seen that he's put out a tester call for the retest, which is great, and he kind of mentioned the amendments that he was planning on making, which I do think sound like they would positively affect the sizing of the pattern. And fingers crossed that the pattern testers who were doing like the retest for the larger sizes have a better time than I did, because yeah, it was quite stressful for me, I can't lie to you. I have been crocheting for about 3 years now, and very rarely, I think now particularly, do I have any issues when it comes to sizing and like, you know, sizing the pieces that I make for myself and making them too big, blah blah blah. So I think I really kind of struggled with that. I almost like gave myself a little bit of like body dysmorphia in a way, and like I didn't like how I was kind of how this was like making me feel about my body, because like I was really hyper aware of like everything that on this sweater that like wasn't fitting my body, if that makes sense. And yeah, it was a wild ride. It was a real wild ride, and like as much as I love the sweater and like I think it's a really beautiful design, there are elements about my version that I'm not like, it's not my favorite, but I do still think I will get wear out of it and I will enjoy wearing it. I used the Drops alpaca and it blocked beautifully. I was kind of like relying on it kind of like stretching out and kind of relaxing of the fibers after I had blocked it, because I have worked with this Drops alpaca before and I know it blocks out really nicely. I didn't like stretch it or anything like that. I just kind of like let the weight of the sweater kind of like let it naturally, you know, adjust the sizing, if that makes sense. And so now it has like a really nice flow to it. It fits me really nicely, particularly around like my lower stomach. And yeah, it was a you know, interesting ride. I like the sweater, I like the outcome of it, but in terms of the sizing of the pattern that or the version that I crocheted, it was not great. And so I'm really glad that the designer was like receptive to my feedback, because some designers probably wouldn't have been. Some designers, I have heard horror stories that they can be a bit douchey when it comes to you know, receiving feedback when it comes to like, you know, the size inclusivity, the sizing aspect of some patterns, particularly if they are size graded. And yeah, it will be a long time before I touch a size graded pattern again. I'm just putting it out there. I'm a made to measure girly for life, I think, and I very rarely will touch a size graded pattern, but definitely not for a long time. I do love the sweater though. I love how it turned out, and I really love the colour that's like rusty orange. It's not something that I kind of like have in my wardrobe, but like something that I would like to implement a little bit more, and the colour that I know I'll be able to style really easily as well. And then the next thing I crocheted is my backless top. This is my latest finished garment. I love this top. It's so cute. So I basically wanted a backless top. I have been seeing backless tops a lot, and I was like, I want one of those. But it's very difficult actually to find backless tops on plus sizes. I don't know, it's almost like they don't want us to get our backs out. Who'd have guessed? And I really wanted one. I don't have any backless tops. I have like some low cut, low back dresses and things like that. So I have, you know, dipped my toe into the world of like a backless or a low back sort of piece. And last year when I went to All Points East Festival, I crocheted myself a cute slutty little dress, and I love how it turned out, but it had a really nice low back, and I was like, I feel really sexy, I feel really hot, I love the way my back looks, I love a broad back, I love back rolls, I love broad shoulders. I think they're really hot and really sexy, and I think more people, particularly fat people, need to embrace their back fat and embrace their rolls and wear backless pieces, because I think it's so sexy and so hot. And so after that dress, I was like, I want to make a top, I want a backless piece. So I basically did that. I again used some of my stash yarn. So this lilac you have probably seen many times. It was in my Titan tank, and I crocheted 2 dresses out of it, and I'm also using it for a current project. I honestly could not tell you how much of this yarn I bought to begin with. I'm pretty sure I brought like 1,000 grams of it, but I'm like, how do I still have it? I've made 2 dresses, 2 tops, and I'm still using it. Anyway, so that's the lilac color that I use, and then I did buy this like sage green color. Both of these are from Drops. This one is Drops Saffron, and then this lilac is Drops Hearts You, and then this kind of like random goldy green color, it's just like another, I think this is Drops Saffron as well, that I've just like had in my stash for ages. Again, some like random scrappy bits that I had left over from old projects, and I just like wanted to incorporate this fun like geometric tapestry sort of vibe throughout, but like really just like sprinkle it through. Like, I didn't want it to be a proper tapestry piece, I just wanted it to be like randomly placed, and I think that is exactly what I have achieved. It looks really cute. I love the checkerboard design. I love checkerboard stuff. I don't know if it's like a millennial thing, I don't know if it's because I was like a little bit emo when I was younger as well, so like I had a lot of checkerboard things. But yeah, I absolutely love how the top turned out. I also did this like fun kind of like corset shoelace sort of fastening in the back, and it's like a nice satin ribbon which looks really cute. But yeah, I loved crocheting this. I loved wearing it. I am not used to wearing backless things or like things with a low back, so it was very much like exposure therapy for me wearing this, and like I don't think I'm like 100% confident in wearing backless things, but I will get there. I love how it turned out. Really hot, really sexy, really cool, and I am excited to wear it a little bit more. And so my next finished project is a little scrunchie. So with my like Scrappy t-shirt that I made, I had like the tiniest bit of yarn left over, like tiny little scrappy little bits, and I took a week off. I took it off during the heat wave, which was not fun, guys. I did not have a good time. It was really fucking hot and I was dying, and I was hoping to crochet a little bit more. I wanted to crochet like a bandana and a scrunchie and but I was like, I only got it in me to do a scrunchie, but I really wanted to use like the leftover yarn from that project and turn it into just one of those like really obnoxiously big scrunchies with loads of different colors, super like cunty and oversized. Also in my scrap cotton like bag where I keep all of my like actual proper scraps, I had, oh my hair's literally in it, my bad, I had a couple of like different colors. So there was this kind of like nice pink color that was in there, there was this peachy color that was in there, and then there was like this baby pink as well. So I just threw those in because I was like, I might as well. And yeah, I really love the scrunchie. Because I have quite short hair, I don't wear scrunchies or like even really tie my hair up that often, but when I do, I like to wear a scrunchie or, you know, something to kind of cover a bun, or, you know, what pathetic excuse I have for a bun because my hair is so short. And so I really enjoy wearing this, so I'm glad that I have it, because now when I do wear my hair up, I have something fun that I can kind of add as like a nice bright coloured accessory. But yeah, that is everything that I've crocheted so far in 2026. I am currently working on another project. It's a fun little summery top, and yeah, I have really enjoyed everything that I've crocheted so far. I have a lot more ideas of things that I want to crochet. I have like a long list of things that I would love to you know, get done by the end of the year. I don't put too much pressure on myself. I don't really care. Like, I don't have like, I'm not like, oh, I've got to like beat my, you know, however many things I crocheted last year. I don't give a shit. I will crochet what I want to crochet, and if it's more or less than the previous year, I don't really care. I also, as well, like I mentioned, I'm on a really major stash busting mission because my yarn isn't out of control, but I do have more than I think I need. Like, I have more than the average person, I think, and so I would like to utilize the yarn I have. I would like to create fun things from the yarn that is currently in my stash, and also like the things that I have like mentally assigned that yarn to. I want to actually use it, because sometimes I might have scraps left over and I'm like, well, if I want to do like a fun scrappy project, I don't know if I can use that yarn. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little roundup of everything that I've crocheted so far this year. I usually do a version of this at the end of the year as well, so if you want to see the whole shebang, you know, subscribe to my channel, check out some of my other videos. Like I said, I will link all of the vlogs, all of the patterns and everything that I used in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a little like. Let me know what your favorite garment was that I've crocheted so far, and let me know what your favorite garment is that you've crocheted so far. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next one.